Good morning. Okay, so we got two people, so I'll start because I'm not gonna make this one long today. So I don't know who here knows. I have been doing lives, recording videos, kind of talking about what I have gone through in Toronto in the last year, specifically with gang stalking. I have been mercilessly gang stalked in this city. It's crazy. I thought it was something that I was just going through, and I spent a year in that mess, and I'm out of it today with a very new new perspective, I should say. So I'm not gonna go too long today. I started my story talking about kind of how I got how these people even found out about me, I guess. And I got all up until the point of last year, January. Now, this is a very hard story to tell because just by telling it, I'm feeling the emotions of what I felt while I was going through it. So I'm not going to today, just for today, because God is guiding me to tell that story because people need to know the truth of what happened. Because the way it happens is very few people are gonna be, anybody who's getting gang stalked, very few people are gonna be along your journey the entire time. They usually just tap people in one at a time for one specific thing and tap them out so people don't know the full story. So I will tell the full story, but for today, I have something very specific that I want to say. So the title of the video today is The Labyrinth. And most people do not know what a labyrinth is. I like mythology. I've always been into it, so I know what a labyrinth is. But I'm gonna read two definitions of I actually had to pull it up so that I don't fumble my words. This is important. So the first definition of a labyrinth, I have my laptop here with me, is a complicated, irregular network of passages or paths in which it is difficult to find one's way. A maze. Okay? In Greek mythology, the labyrinth was an elaborate, confusing structure designed and built by the legendary artificer, I'm assuming that's an architect, called Daedalus of King Minos of Crete. For King Minos of Crete. At how do you say this? Gnosis. You guys could look it up. This is the definition from Wikipedia. But what's more important, its function was to hold the Minotaur, the monster eventually killed by the hero Theseus. I'm going to read about that more, that particular story. But the function of a labyrinth is to hold a monster. If there is something that you can't kill, the function of the labyrinth was to hold the monster, because it's so difficult to get out of a labyrinth. It is almost impossible. Technically, you'll say it's possible, but it is considered impossible to get out of a labyrinth. It is built to hold things, monsters that couldn't be killed. Okay. And so they're saying here in Greek mythology, that the monster was eventually killed. So I meditate all the time. I meditate daily. And I listen. I just listen. It's quiet time for me, not to be devising solutions for myself or thinking things up. And this was what I feel like today is going to be about. So it's a very specific message. And I'm going to post it to my YouTube later. What happens when you're gang stalked is, because put it this way, no one needs to gang stalk you to keep you away from someone. Which was the intent and purpose of why all of this happened to me. Nobody needs to gang stalk you to keep you away from someone. As a matter of fact, it's very simple to keep someone away from someone, especially when the person that they're trying to keep you away from will not talk to you, which is normally what happens in these situations with these guys. It's my cat. If you find yourself gang stalked, it is because you're being put into a labyrinth. The purpose of you being put into that situation, the purpose of the labyrinth in this particular case is not because you're a monster that can't be killed. The purpose of the labyrinth in this particular case is to suck out your wealth and almost transfer that to others. I know that you guys are not going to really understand what I'm talking about, and that's fine. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, the message is really not for you, and that's okay. The purpose of a labyrinth in this context is to suck away your good luck, your destiny, your future. These people seek out people who have a bright future. It's evident. They're on the cusp of actualizing it. They're not looking for someone who has a plan or who has a vision in their head. It is somebody who's already put in some sort of work and someone who's already begun to work on the work is showing progress. Okay, so you're a singer, you could sing, and you get the first opportunity to be discovered. That means your fruit is ripe enough to pick. You're supposed to be moving to the States to get signed. You have a business and you've put a lot of time and investment. You've developed that product. The website looks good. The marketing, the packaging, everything looks good. And you're ready to launch. Everything is clean. Your fruit is ripe enough to pick. These are the people meant for the labyrinth. Because these are people that you can clearly see that there is wealth in their future. That there is something to be had from them. So once you're put into this labyrinth, you can no longer focus on developing your product. You can no longer focus on continuing to actualize that dream. You can no longer focus on continuing to groom what you're doing, marketing it, getting it out there. They come in, they look at the blueprint of what you're doing, they plagiarize it, they copy it, and they try to actualize it themselves and make money off of it themselves. The network already has hackers. They already have website developers. They already have all of that. And if they don't plagiarize it and take it, they put their hand in it as investors, as developers. Let us help you build your website. Let us give you your models. Let us give you your photographers. Let us give you, your manager, your stylist, the person providing the clothing. This is the reason that they put everybody in place around you. From your friendships now that have changed, your friend groups have changed, where you go changes, even the restaurants that you go to changes. Yeah, restaurants named after, just Google the name. What does it mean? The name might not be in English, the name might be in Spanish, but what does that name mean? Google it. What is that about? So the whole purpose of this intricate network that they place around you is so that they actualize your dream and that they harvest it. They eat it. They tell you actually how much you're going to get from it. If anything, they live your life. They live your life. That is what that is. And one thing about when you're in that position is all of a sudden you're having what you would describe as bad luck. Nothing is working out for you. You can't actualize anything for yourself. Any new flower that sprouts is going to get stomped out. It can only come from them. So you getting out of that is impossible. And if you try to, you definitely can't leave with anything because they've grown whatever you have for you. They took it as a seedling and they want to grow it. And they're going to stamp it out and take everything from you, ruin you if you want to come out. You want to come out? You're going to come out homeless, with nothing, with no one, with no friendships, by yourself, okay, dejected, obviously mentally unstable and mentally unwell. You're going to come out with cracks in every single part of your life, okay? It's going to be something that is going to, that they want to be permanent and that will affect you. You're going to walk around like a corpse, basically. That's the way they want you. And they won't leave you alone until they destroy that for you, okay? The purpose of the labyrinth is not just to trap you. The purpose of the labyrinth is to suck out your wealth, your dreams, your destiny. There's people in the labyrinth that should have been international stars. They should have been signed. We should know their name. There are people performing at ridiculous small venues for chump change who should have been on international platforms years ago. There are people who've had everything taken away from them because once your dream goes, your wealth goes, your stability goes, especially if this is how you make money. And I believe there are people who work to develop the labyrinth in every profession, from real estate agents, mortgage agents, whatever you could think of, okay, in every capacity. And then there's people who are just supporting the function of the labyrinth because they're terrified, because they got a little taste of it. They're in position. They serve a specific purpose in this labyrinth, okay? They have a specific job. There are wealth depleters. People, for example, like mortgage agents or real estate agents, where when you're going to sell your house, they're going to make sure it's going to be sold under value. They're going to make sure you're going to lose that house. It's not actually going to close. You're not actually going to get the money from the closing because they're going to give you some complicated, ridiculous offer. You're not going to get all the offers that come. You're not going to know all the showings that happen. They're there to deplete wealth at a rapid rate. If they are seeing that you won't cooperate, they'll just deplete it. They'll steal the concepts, they'll steal the ideas, and they'll run off with it and they'll deplete it. What's happened in my particular situation, and I know you guys are not allowed to watch. I know you guys are not allowed to watch. They're trying hard for this message not to reach you, and that is totally fine. It will get out. It will get out one way or the other. Because one thing that we have learned is we are not going to go against the will of God. One way or the other, it's going to happen. So it is what it is. But what's happened in my particular situation is there were people who, obviously the people who developed the labyrinth and the people who manage the labyrinth and and their loved ones and their families and anybody who's ever clicked glasses with them, anybody who's ever shared $1, anybody who ever followed an instruction, anybody who was ever in their favor, anybody who was ever in their vicinities, anybody who ever was in their thoughts. It seems like your luck has ran out. It seems like something's hunting you down, or some things is hunting you down. It seems like your money is not only not moving, It's not just shrinking, it's evaporating. It seems like your health is deteriorating. It's been like that for a while, actually. And it feels like it took a lot of effort to get your attention. You are only concerned about being arrested. That's the easiest part of being in the labyrinth. The law has so many loopholes. That's the easiest part. Your health? What are you going to do if you don't have good health? Your finances are mysteriously disappearing. People are in business and it's not making a dollar. In fact, the only way for it to make a dollar is the other people that are involved have to come to your establishment. Nothing else is working. It's looking like you're in the labyrinth. It's looking like you took a long time to build and perfect a maze, a trap, to sit in it yourself. Now, wouldn't that be crazy if you were warned over and over about leaving someone alone and then you end up in the same labyrinth, the same maze, the same prison that you devised and developed? Because to me, the labyrinth is the same as telling someone go to hell. I'll be honest with you, I feel like it's easier to be in hell than to be in the labyrinth. I'll be honest with you. It's not a joke. I was there. It's not a joke. You might feel physically that there is a heavy weight on your head at all times. You might feel anxious and depressed, out of breath. You might find it hard to develop a succinct thought. You might find it hard to make plans that make sense. You might find it hard to follow through on productive work, to actualize, to form ideas. Forget actualizing the ideas, just to form ideas to make money and to develop yourself. Because in the labyrinth, it's not designed for you to grow anything. It's not designed for you to thrive. It's desired to wither your crops. I call it the labyrinth of endings, because nothing will begin in there. Things will only end. They will deplete and they will die. And actually, worse than dying, they'll just stay in a state of stagnancy, of purgatory, which is actually the same as death. It will remain in a state of stagnancy. It will remain in a state of not moving. That's what cancer is, actually. Cancer is when cells do not go through their normal process of being born, going through their life cycle, and dying. You just grow cells and they never die. And they never go through a life process as well. That's what that labyrinth is about. So, if you're in the labyrinth, and the purpose of the labyrinth is sucking out wealth, sucking out goodness, sucking out peace, sucking out joy, then where's all that going to? Because the only people that were ever put in that situation were always good people, divine beings, God's children. Because God's children are the ones with the womb. They are the one, and this is irrespective of gender. They are the ones who can create. They were given the gift. They can create, they can actualize. And they had to fight for their lives to get out of that labyrinth. So if you're in the labyrinth and there's endings coming to you, let me just tell you, you would have preferred to go to jail, served your time, and come out than being in that labyrinth. I'm telling you, no matter how what I feel for the people who did negative to me, wishing someone in a labyrinth is a different level of evil. Listen, I don't hate anybody enough to say I wish you were in the labyrinth. That's nuts. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's worse than any one bad wish. That is all the bad wishes combined times 10. So if you find yourself in there and you find that your children are having issues, you find that your home is no longer a place of peace, that the house you bought cannot be enjoyed, that you got to return your cars, that you're scared to go in the house, that you're scared to sleep with the lights off, that you're terrified, that there's no peace, that there's no place on earth that you can find enjoyment. Not a beach, not a spot. If I gave you $1 million while you're in the labyrinth, forget losing it. It will not bring you peace. Okay? But you will lose it. So thinking that you will lose everything and exit the labyrinth, this was the old way. This was the old way. No, you're going to lose everything regardless because everything was stolen. The wealth that you had stored up is for God's children. You stole that. That was a gift to them. It wasn't even theirs. It was a gift to them, which means it actually belongs to God. So there's a new set of rules for the labyrinth. Okay, there's a new set of rules. You're in there and things are being sucked out. The beginning is you need to admit your actions. You're going to have to admit what you did wrong. I don't care where you admit it. You're going to admit what you did wrong. The things that you guys did to people. You guys are going to start confessing to people what you guys did to people. You're going to have to, and you're going to do so whether you want to or not. Because you're in the you know what? Hey, remember how it goes in the labyrinth? You don't control yourself in the labyrinth. You'll notice that you don't have control over your life. You will be admitting, whether you want to or not, you will be admitting by force or fire what you did to people. That's number one. But you're going to have to go back and make things right with the people you destroyed. You're going to have to go back and make things right with the people you destroyed. Every day it gets worse in the labyrinth. Every day it gets worse. Every second you stay in that labyrinth, every second you allow yourself to remain in there, things continue to get worse. So you might not want to stay there too long. You might want to start hatching a plan to get out. Now, you guys are very hard-headed people, so you might want to stay focused this time. We're headed into 2024. I don't know if you guys know, this new year, new me nonsense you guys talk about every year, it'll definitely be a new you for sure. For sure. 2024 is going to be a storm. You'll see. Secondly, you guys took something that belongs to God. Someone that belongs to God. You took someone that belongs to God. They're furious about that. You know who to give back. You know who to release safely. And, you know, I think we figure I'm not just a messenger. Some people are messengers. I'm not just a messenger. I've noticed all year they kept repeating things to you guys. I don't say anything. I don't say much. I don't like repeating myself, so I'm not going to say it again. This is a one-time message. If it gets where it's supposed to go, great. But you know what they say? Ignorance of the law does not... Oh, I didn't know. Oh, that sucks. Still happening. That's the beginning. So, 3 things. Admit your wrongs. It's going to happen either way. Do right by the people that you destroyed. It's going to happen either way. Release what you're holding, who you're holding, that you know damn well God is furious about. It's going to happen either way. Whether you release it or not, it's going to happen either way. Try to get some brownie points. Have a great day. This was the message that I felt like it was really important to talk about. I should have named this video The Switcheroo. That would have been appropriate because I was in the labyrinth. Now you're in the labyrinth. We'll talk next time.